right, lights, camera, action, all that good stuff. This is the Hybrid Signal Flow YouTube channel, and I am the Nomaddoor. Now, this video that I'm going to drop today specifically addresses a long-going debate as to what some purists and traditionalists are saying about the new MPCs as they relate to the old MPCs. Specifically, they've been saying that, or at least some people have been saying that the new MPCs may not have the grit and the bite that the old MPCs have. Now, I'm not going to enter that discussion. I'm not going to enter that chat and try to convince you whether that's true or not. I don't know if that's true or not. People hear what they hear, and I have no position of authority as to what other people hear when they use certain sounds. I guess it's all pertinent to their setup, what device they have, the monitors they use, what samples they enter into the device, etc., etc. We could debate forever about that. But I'm here to tell you that as having owned several of the newer MPCs, the MPC 1 Plus, MPC Live 2, Live 3, and now the XL, there is a way to make the new MPCs sound more analog. And I'm not here to try to convince you that I can make it become analog or make it sound analog, like, that there's no difference between the old analog sound and what you have now. I'm not saying that I can do that, but what I'm saying is I have some helpful suggestions to make it sound more analog and take your drum from sounding like this to now sound like this. Now, Akai has blessed us with the opportunity to save effects inserts. So if you just go to your menu, when you go to your track edit, and actually not your track edit, but your mixer, and then you double tap to your pad edit, you'll see that each one of your tracks has inserts and the effects that are associated with that particular insert. So I'm on pad A03. And when you go into the inserts, you see you are greeted with 4 slots that you can put effects in. Now, I'm not reinventing the wheel. This is obvious to anybody who's ever used an MPC. You already know this. So you're probably listening to me and watching like, okay, duh, what else you got for me, Nomaddoor? Well, let me tell you this. So you can save your effects. And if you look at the top right, there's an Akai folder. That Akai folder shows you all the effects racks positions that they have actually customized for you by category. Ones that are pertinent to drums and percussion, voice, guitar, bass, keyboard, and synth, and so on and so forth. And when you click on one of those, it automatically routes the specific effects to the insert rack, the effects rack and the inserts, to calibrate it to sound like what's being described in the category. If you scroll over to the next folder, that's a user folder. And then the next one is save. So when you create a setting here with your 4 inserts or however many inserts you use, you can save it and it's going to appear in this user folder later for you to recall instantly later. Now, I'm going to be selling a group of inserts and I'm going to call it Analog Trap Vibes, because it's my specific way as the Nomaddoor, how I like to produce and get my vibe, keeping a modern trap style, but still adopting to that traditional analog feel, that analog vibe at the same time. So I'm just going to share with you one of my presets. So this one is meant for kick drums and basses. I'm going to take all of them off and just play the sample here. So you can hear that kick. It's pretty good. It's an analog kick that I actually got off of the Volca kick when I owned one. And I set the settings how I wanted them. Then I added, let's go one by one. So I added the opto compressor, which as you go into, I have fully wet, threshold about halfway, input kind of driving a little bit, ratio at 4. The attack is very slow, at least for a kick, at 91, and the release is kind of slow at 82. Why did I do this? Because the slower the attack is, the more transient you're allowing to come through the compressor, and the slower the release, the longer you're grabbing and holding on to it to try to bulk up that sound. And I've boosted the output and made the knee kind of tough on it, and you get this sound. So you're going from this to this. All right, now you might be saying, well, that's you know, it's different, but now you add the Air Amp Sim, which is actually a guitar simulator for an amp, like an electric guitar amp. And I have it set with just a little touch of drive, a lot of output, some bass boosted, soft clipper engaged, top boost just a little bit, and some mid and mid frequency kind of turned up, treble turned down a little bit. And here we got this. So now we've gone from this to this. And lastly, I've added some Air Reverb Pro. Air Reverb Pro with hardly any tail, and the mix down just adds a little bit of bulk. You know, so you're going from this to this. You might need to have on headphones to really hear that difference. It's very subtle, but altogether you're going from a regular kick that's pretty hard to this. And that's how you get the analog feel to get your MPC sounding with, you know, more grit and more bite, and get that analog trap vibe. And that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for stopping through, and I look forward to catching up with you guys later. Stay in touch. Peace.